Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
Huh? It's a house!
What's going on, Freakazoids? Alright. Well, I know we got a small crowd tonight, but for those of you who are there, if you want to help support the channel during the show, that would be great. Thank you. I'm trying to be able to watch my Blazers play. I've given up all these years. I just keep skipping all the games live, you know. Kind of sucks. So, I'm going to try to watch them when they're at home. Maybe I'll have later shows, and when they're on the road, I'll have normal time. Hey, look at that. It's Angie's Heart. I remember you. You haven't been here in a long time. Kathleen Bell and Sherry C. and etc. All right, let's see. I did want to bring something up here for a second. So here's this picture that was in the you know, from the crime scene. So this is out front of the house. There's a piece of paper right there, right? And this person was like, "Gray, you missed something. You missed something. It says Die Mogan." And I said, well, no, it says it's Maddie Mogan, and the other half's cut off. You know? I mean, these people, they just try to, and they want me to, oh, you just don't see it, Grant. Well, who would say, wouldn't you say Maddie? You know, Die Maddie. Why would you say Die Mogan? You know, first of all. And then secondly, if you look closely in here, like if you zoom in on this, see right there on the D, how it has that little trailing curl there? Well, that's exactly what you see right there. Why would there be this little weird little thing there? That's not how you do it. You know? That little thing right there is the same as this, so there's another D that is cut off right there. Now, did somebody do that? Like, hey, you know, I mean, you know, the killer cut the piece of paper on purpose? Or is it just folded or whatever? It doesn't mean anything. And by the way, if you're over in the cold areas, you know, hope you get through the storm. It's pretty shitty over there. Yeah, so this person was just so excited about it. Oh God, it says Die Mogan. You know, I mean, it does if you don't realize that her name is Maddie, spelled M-A-D-D-I-E, and then you can see the actual curl, just like that one, of the other D that somehow is cut off right there. All right. Yeah. So that's just something I wanted to throw out there. This guy just kept emailing me over and over and acting like it was so excited and just, you missed it, Gray, you missed it. And I don't know. I see it does say that on the page here, but that's not what it was. It was Maddie. Okay, are you guys even interested in this, or there isn't one comment? Yeah, I think it looks like it's folded. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it looks folded. I just think there was another part of the paper that was over here. And then why would you write it die right on the edge of a paper instead of in the middle? It just doesn't make any sense. But hey guys, if you guys could please help support the channel so we're not at 0 all the way through the show, that would be great. I always hate the starts when we're 0, 0, 0, 0 for like any length of time. It's makes you nervous. Oh, that's the only thing I had on that one. How you have these people peg their brains. I don't know what that means. Yeah. How you have these people peg their brains. I don't know what that means. Are the other photos of what? I just showed it to you. They look like that. They marked it as an evidence thing because it was just something that was on the ground and it had one of the names of the people on it. But it's in the front of the house. Yeah, whether it was cut or whatever, you could say, well, somebody cut it so it looked like it said Die Mogan. I mean, that's a better theory than having somebody say they wrote Die Mogan on there. Okay, because you can literally see the other part of the D of the first D in Maddie, right? So since you can see that, then you know that it originally said Maddie Mogan. And then you'd have to say, well, the killer found it and then cut it so that could, I mean, that's kind of weird, right? Crazy. Why would you put it in the front of the house? I don't know if he was ever even in the front area other than in his car driving. Anyways, they just kept going and going. They just wouldn't drop it. They said, hey, Gray, you missed some very important evidence. And I said, I didn't miss a damn thing. And I said, a rational-minded person would see that Maddie, Die Mogan, perhaps folded. You can even see the curve of the previous D. And then they said, forget it. You're not interested. No, I am interested if it was something legit. Like if it literally said Die Mogan and it was in the center of the page, that would be interesting to me. Okay? You see, that's how my brain works. Like if this said die and it was by itself, and you knew that was a lone word by itself, that would be interesting. But that's not what it is. There is part of the other D right there, and then D-I-E, which is Maddie Mogan. All right, you see that? All right, guys, is there any chance you guys can help support the channel earlier on in the show so we're not just sitting here lingering, waiting, hoping? It'd be nice to get some support early on in the show. Thank you. Yep, so you have that. That's all I was going to do on that. And then the Spencer Teppy and Monique. Their update today was Michael McKee made his first appearance in an Ohio courtroom a week after a grand jury indicted him in connection with the deaths of his ex-wife and her dentist husband. The 39-year-old surgeon appeared remotely from Franklin County Jail as his attorney entered a not guilty plea on his behalf to 4 counts of aggravated murder and a single count of aggravated burglary. McKee showed no emotion during his brief appearance and stood silent and motionless in his jail jumpsuit for the entire proceeding. He is accused of murdering Monique and Spencer Teppy. We know. Police found the 2 dead inside their home. Right, so I guess he pled not guilty. I mean, he literally has no chance of getting off. But there'll probably be a whole community that pretends that it's that he's not. Did anybody hear what I was saying a minute ago? Just kind of get the show started with some support on the channel. We're at 0000000 all the way across. I'm just doing a little bit later show. It's no different. Hey, thank you, Scott Turbeville. How do you say that one? Scott Turbeville. Turbeville, maybe. What's up, Gray? I still love your content, 39-year-old, and I'm excited to say I'm a proud new granddad. Hey, congrats. What's up, Gray? Still love your content. Oh, you repeated it. I'm excited to say I'm... Hey, well, there you go. You said it twice. Very cool, very cool. All right. Yeah, I mean, that's all. I mean, that's it. It's that case to me at this point is really boring. It's just, yeah, he's kind of a typical nut job. You know, there's weird case that Zozo sent me that was kind of comparing it to Idaho 4 a little bit, where there was this girl and her friend. They were upstairs in the bedroom, and then they're both stabbed to death. And then they, for a long time they couldn't figure out who did it, but it turns out it was the best friend of one of the victims' boyfriend, because he thought that the victim was going to convince his girlfriend. And the thing is, they got married later, so the guy and the girl got married later, but he thought that she was going to keep them from getting married, so he killed them. Now, it's pretty weird, too, because he was drinking, and he kind of snuck into the house. And it's an old case from, 94. But it shows you, I mean, that person killed 2 people really quickly with a knife. That's the part that always bugs me the most, when these people keep saying the same thing over and over. They say stuff like, there's just no way a person could have done that in 10 or 11 minutes. And I said, I know, they did it in 5. Koberger killed all 4 of those victims in around 5 minutes or less. They actually timed it. And they said 3.5, so I'm saying 5. And I made a video, and the video is 3 minutes. And you can just see that it would take, you could do it. I mean, it's just... that, yeah, congratulations up there, Scott. You're 39 with a... let's see. So you're 39 and a granddad. So let's see, you must have had a kid when you were 20. And then you have a son or a daughter that's 19 and also had one. Is that right? What do you mean? I was just trying to figure out what I was trying to read it, you idiot. Red hat. See, isn't that weird how you get somebody in here and they're just waiting around, waiting for some way to kind of twist what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? It's just these people are idiots. So block that red hat, whatever the hell their name is. You know, they just come in here. They're just trolls. They have no. I didn't have a problem with it repeating. I was just saying, wait, it says the exact same thing. Okay. See, it's a troll looking for wording to try to manipulate. Right. And yes, I do ask for people to support my channel every single night. Yes, I do. It's the only way to make it happen. There's absolutely zero chance of reaching goals if you're not asking. Especially when you're not doing sensationalism. Makes it tough. So good luck. And you'll think you're typing red hat, but nobody can see a damn thing that you're saying. Yeah, they always come in and they just sort of disrupt what you're saying, and it has nothing to do with anything. Oh, I love your content, 39-year-old. I thought you said 39. I still love your content, 39-year-old, and I'm excited. I don't know. Maybe I'm confused. What is the 39-year-old part? What does that mean? I was talking into my phone when I was... Oh, okay. Well, you don't have to apologize. That's just those trolls. They just take stuff, whatever it is, out of context. I could say something like, oh, man, I squished a bee today because it was on my arm. You know, Gray, you're such an evil bastard, you know, you squished a bee. It doesn't matter what I say, it's just what's going to happen. Yeah, I thought you were saying you were 39 years old, but anyways. That makes more sense, I guess. 54, you know, you could have a kid, you could have been 34, they'd be 20, or you could have been 29 and they'd be 25, you know. Oh boy, this is going to be a tough one. I can tell you that. Well, I'm just going to go through these. Well, there's two from... What was the one I wanted to do? Yeah, maybe it's this one. I don't think we did the Tamara Burkheiser and Gail Matthews, did we? Because I had them on Google in here, but I'm not sure we did it. Or maybe we did. Did we do the one where... This one right here, does this look familiar to you guys? Thank you, Scott Turbville. Did we do this one? Where it's Tamara Burkheiser and her mother, Gail Matthews. It was still in the folder, not completed, so I don't know, but I did have the... I have a folder in here. I'm just not sure we did it. What happened? Alright, we'll just do this again. Alright, if it starts sounding familiar, let me know, but it just didn't ring a bell when I was looking at it. So this one is a 23-year-old woman was stabbed to death, sexually assaulted, and left alongside her strangled daughter, Williamsport police said Saturday. Police said they were looking for a suspect in the slaying of Gail Matthews and her 5-year-old daughter, Tamara Burkheiser. Their bodies were found Friday in their Williamsport home. Matthews was stabbed at least 11 times, and Tamara was strangled. So imagine, I mean, somebody goes in there and stabs the mother, and the 5-year-old's old enough to recognize somebody. So they probably felt like it was necessary to strangle. So they probably, I would think that they would know the person. Matthews was stabbed at least 11 times, and Tamara was strangled by someone using their hands and a piece of clothing. Lycoming County Coroner George W. Gedden said. The child was also struck about the head in some fashion. It does not appear the daughter was sexually assaulted. Okay, yeah, so she wasn't sexually assaulted, but the mother was. Wonder if they collected DNA. This is 1994, September 4th. Make sure to keep typing, you guys. Let's see. Matthew's mother discovered the bodies when she and a friend went to her daughter's home Friday morning after several unsuccessful attempts to reach Matthews by telephone. I mean, that sounds like other cases, but I don't remember this one. Investigators initially believed Matthews may have known her attacker, but were unsure Saturday. Williamsport Police Chief Anthony Evans said he did not believe robbery was a motive. Police said the suspect may have slipped through a door, through a first-floor kitchen window, which was found damaged. Several suspects have been questioned, but no arrests have been made. Tamara was the daughter of Eric M. Burkheiser, whose last known address was in Williamsport. Well, if they had, well, you'd think they would have DNA. If they did, why haven't they solved it then? I mean, this is way... Man, we're way into the DNA years. If they had it, they should have been able to solve this one. Let's see. So that first one was the 4th. This is the 5th. A 23-year-old woman was stabbed to death, sexually assaulted, and left alongside her strangled daughter, Williamsport police said. Police said no one had been arrested in the slayings of Gail Matthews and her 5-year-old daughter, Tamara Heiser. Matthews was stabbed 11 times. Let's see. Police said the suspect may have slipped through the first-floor kitchen window, which was found damaged. Neighbors said Matthews was a hardworking woman who was trying to build a better future for her daughter. Tamara was known as a polite girl and was to begin kindergarten next week. I just can't believe this has happened to a 5-year-old girl that we saw every day. And they live across the street. Now we won't see her ever again, they said. Alright, so that was September 4th and 5th. And then it seems like there really wasn't much, or, you know, there was almost like no coverage for a while. And then they're exhuming, you know, it says, the bodies of a woman and a girl murdered in Williamsport last year will be exhumed for tests. Lycoming County District Attorney Tom Marino said police now have no results of a DNA. There you go. Have the results of DNA and other tests performed after Gail Matthews and her daughter Tamara Burkheiser 4 were found stabbed to death. At a news conference Wednesday, Marino said police now have a suspect, but they want more evidence. He said test results are available now that were not available a year ago. I mean, this is way back when DNA was just sort of starting off. The bodies will be exhumed within 3 to 4 weeks, and it will take several additional weeks for the tests to come back. Meanwhile, 2 city detectives and 2 county detectives have been assigned to the case full-time. That was 95, and then all the way to 98. So this one, mistrial is in the case of Lycoming County woman accused of committing perjury. What's this one? Weaver is accused of telling others. I guess this one is the trial of Brenda Briel Weaver, 30, charged with perjury and false swearing, will be rescheduled for the March term of court, the judge said. Among the prosecution witnesses will be District Attorney Thomas A. Marino. Weaver is accused of telling others information about the crime scene that had not been made public and then denying making those statements when she testified before the grand jury investigating the murder of Gail Matthews and her daughter Tamara Burkheiser. Weaver and Heiser lived in opposite sides of Double House. So this Weaver person lived in the same house, but just on the other side of it. So somehow this person knew. I mean, couldn't it just be that they knew because they were in the house and saw it? All right, you guys, we've had one individual helping support the channel in here tonight. So if anybody else out there has the ability to, that would be very appreciated. Thank you. A slain woman. So this is 1998. So 4 years later. The defense attorney says Williamsport woman murdered more than 3 years ago, along with their 5-year-old daughter, was sexually assaulted. Lycoming County Chief Public Defender William J. Meal also said tests of the sperm did not match that of his client. Meal made the revelation Friday while arguing that District Justice Alan P. Page III should dismiss the there was somebody that was arrested, but I couldn't find the newspaper article. Homicide and related counts against his client Earl R. Skip Kramer III. Meals said a forensic pathologist who performed the autopsies determined Gail Matthews was sexually assaulted. The FBI ruled the sperm that was found did not match Kramer, he said. Kramer was arrested March 10th following an investigation into the murders of Matthew, 23, and her daughter, Tamara Burkheiser. The bodies were found in a bedroom at 812 Center Street on September 2nd, 1994. And here's 812 Center Street. This is going to be one of those nights again. I mean, does anybody hear me? It's just really frustrating. Yeah, so it's this house right there. So maybe there's something on the other side. Really dense street, too. I mean, I don't know who you are, Barbara Bowen. When you say it looks like you're back, I don't know what that means. Okay, yeah, but I'm trying to get people to support my channel tonight. We're still trying to get moving forward. I'm sorry that I had to do a later show, but we just have had one individual. And thank you for that, but that seems pretty bizarre. A suspect in a nearly 4-year-old double murder in Lycoming County is a free man after a judge dismissed all charges against him. County Judge Dudley N. Anderson yesterday interrupted his vacation to meet with District Attorney Thomas A. Marino and Chief Public Defender. Anyways, Kramer was facing the death penalty in the slaying of Gail Matthews, 23, and her daughter, Tamara Burkheiser, in their Center Street home on September 2nd, 1994. He was arrested in March and has been held without bail. Yeah, I don't see any coffees. I didn't get any. I don't know, it's weird. I didn't get a coffee. But thank you. Maybe they put it into the spam folder. Let's see. Nope. It's not there. I don't know. One didn't show up. Maybe I'll try going out to the actual site. See if it's there. Hold on a second. Shit. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, no, that's a verification code. Oh yeah, it shows up in there. Thank you. Yeah, it shows up online, but I didn't get an email from, not like normal, you know. Thank you, Marty. Yeah, I don't know why that they didn't send me. Usually they send a verification of it, but I had to go out to the website. The district attorney informed Anderson yesterday he had no intention of presenting additional evidence. I mean, if its DNA didn't match and she was sexually assaulted, then that's, or, you know, they checked the sperm. It must have been DNA in it or something that they were checking. Affidavits filed in the case allege Kramer's girlfriend, weird, who lived in the other side of the double house from Matthews and Burkheiser, had told him the night of September 1st their relation. Oh, wow. God, that makes total sense, doesn't it? So that's the girl. The girlfriend was the one that knew information about what happened that wasn't made public. And then Kramer, the guy that they arrested on the 10th, they had just broken up. So maybe he was like pissed off. But I mean, if the sperm doesn't match, then how could it be? Maybe it's a chimera. Wouldn't that be weird? Oh, you do another one, Marty? Oh, thanks. I think they came in this time. All right, thank you very much. Very kind. A bucket of coffee by Marty's Bar and Grill. Yeah. Let's see. Huh. Well, that's pretty interesting how that's not. The authorities believe Kramer was in the Center Street area the day the bodies were found. And so, you know, that night, the girlfriend had told him their relationship was over, and she wanted him to leave. Authorities believe Kramer was in the Center Street area the day the bodies were found. That's crazy. How could he not be the person? You know, in the same house, you've got a issue like that. Maybe I should have one of those drinks on this cold winter night. I'm gonna have one of Marty's. Hey, I'll be back in a minute. see, guys. Oh, it must have done like a $2 hauler. Thanks, Sandy Shirley and Timothy Cecil. Hey, look, there it is. Look at that little ice ball in there. It looks pretty good, doesn't it? That's Marty's Red Breast. The drink. Why not, huh? So look at then back, and then in 2002, Clinton Township man again charged in the 1994 killing, saying they have new evidence. Authorities have again charged a man with the 1994 murder of a woman and her 5-year-old daughter. Lycoming County District Attorney Thomas A. Marino said Earl R. Skip Kramer III, 36 of Clinton Township, was again charged with the slaying. I mean, does his DNA find a match now or something? No, it's whiskey. No, it's just two. It's only 2 shots. I don't know what fingers are. I mean, when you say fingers, but it's 2 shots, but that ball of ice fills up almost the whole thing, so it kind of goes up the sides. Here, I'll show it to you again. See, look. That's the ice right in the middle there. See that cool little ice cube there? It's totally a sphere. So it takes up most of the glass, you know. All right. Cool. It is pretty good. Smooth. I would not have filed the charges if I didn't think we had enough evidence, Marino said after Kramer's arrest Saturday night. Marino said his plans to seek the death penalty. Kramer originally was arrested and charged with the slaying in March of 1998, but within weeks, County Judge Dudley N. Anderson dismissed all the counts because of insufficient evidence. Marino said Kramer had long been a suspect in the case, but law enforcement officials were awaiting the completion of the FBI tests on evidence. He said the new evidence involves small bits of glitter material retrieved from Kramer's car. An analysis of the car's carpets by the FBI revealed that the glitter matched pieces of material found in the second floor bedroom. I know, but what if, like, she walked down and it got on her feet? Second floor bedroom where the victims' bodies were found. There hasn't been a day we haven't thought about this case. You know what's weird is we should probably look this guy. Let me look this guy up on the side over here. That's crazy. Anyways, thanks up there to Timothy Cecil, Sandy Shirley, and Sherry C. And there, look at Scott again. Here's to Old Smoky, a new grandson, and Grady's Investigates. All right. Let's see. Is Ben? I'm gonna go to Ben Verified here. This is in Pennsylvania. This person's name is Earl Kramer the third in Pennsylvania. And he was 36, so that was 2002, so you add 24 to 36 and you get 60, right? Maybe 60, well, they only have 54 and 64. Huh. Yeah, let me just try Earl Kramer. Hold on. Now there's one that's 60. Yeah, so let's I mean, that's the only one that could be. And it's Earl R, so this is him. So let's see if we can, if there's any, since that time, somebody that would do something like that, oftentimes are charged with other things that are somewhat similar. So let's see. Is there anything? There's 2 criminal. Now there's a burglary in there. So that's interesting. And that was in, I mean, interestingly, look at the date up here, you guys. This article is April 27th, 2002. And his burglary was April 25th, 2002. How crazy is that? No, that was the court date. The date of the offense was well, that's interesting. They have his offense as September 1st, 1994, the same night as the murders. Isn't that weird that that's in the system? That they have a burglary, because I think they charged him with that, but it must have been reversed. And then he has the date of the second date, he has false imprisonment. So I think both of these are when he was charged a long time ago for this killing, and they're still in the system. That's the only 2 things that are in there. Pretty weird, huh? Murder charges sent to court. This is April 27th. But there is enough evidence to try him. And then let's see, March 27th, 2024. And they dropped it again. Jeez, you gotta be kidding. The Lycoming County District Attorney dropped murder charges against a man Friday, saying he does not have enough evidence to convict the slayings of the man's neighbors and her 5-year-old daughter, or the man's neighbor. District Attorney Michael A. Dinges dropped charges against Earl R. Skip Kramer III, who's 38, but said there is no statute of limitations. Gail Matthews, 23, and her daughter, Tamara Burkheiser, were found dead behind their Williamsport home. Wow, so not even inside. In 1994, Mr. Kramer was first charged in 1998, but a county judge dismissed the charges, saying there was only hearsay evidence against Mr. Kramer. Armed with new evidence in 2002, then District Attorney Thomas A. Marino brought murder charges against Mr. Kramer again, and those charges were dismissed Friday. And then this is some sort of a document. I just wanted to see what it says in here. Yeah, this is, let's see, this is from Earl R. Kramer III. A defendant has been charged with 2 counts of criminal homicide and 1 count of burglary in connection with the killing of Gail Matthews and her daughter, Tamara Burkheiser, on or about September 1st, 1994. Before the court are various issues raised in defendant's omnibus pretrial motion filed July 25th, 2002. So this is after he was charged the second time. So here he was charged with burglary, etc. I want to see if there's any details in here. What happened the night before? And this is long. see. I don't know if there's any detail in here. I think it's just talking about why he's not guilty. I don't really want to go through all this. Or couldn't have done it. Or they don't have enough evidence, I guess. Alright, let's see what this article says here from 2020. So that must be them, both of them right there. That's April 25th, 1993. And so that means it's about a year and a half. That means the kid is only 3.5 in that picture. All right. 25 years ago, a young woman and her daughter were beaten and stabbed to death in the bedroom of their Williamsport home. Their killer never was brought to justice. Now the Lycoming County District Attorney's Office is reviewing suspects and sending decades-old evidence back to the lab for DNA testing. And this is 2020. The case of 23-year-old Gail Matthews and 5-year-old daughter Tamara Burkheiser is burned into the memory of Lycoming County. They were a mother and a daughter in the prime of life, found slain together in bed at their Center Street home. So it wasn't found behind the home, like that article said. It's by far the most heinous murder ever committed in Lycoming County. The images formed in your mind when you read the documents are gut-wrenching. Evidence was tested for DNA in years past, but was not a match to any suspect. Isn't that interesting? Gardner said, DNA evidence previously swabbed from the corner of a bed sheet was inconclusive. Earl R. Skip Kramer III, 54, of Williamsport, was arrested for the double homicide in 1998 and again in 2002. But charges against him were dismissed both times. In one instance, glitter in Kramer's car was linked to the murder scene, but later found on a common porch. See, there you go. That's exactly what I was saying. It's like, how do we know she didn't walk somewhere? But hey, guys, if you guys could please help support the channel, see if we can have a miraculous goal making tonight, I'd be appreciative. Let's see. Is Kramer still the man for this crime? We think it's a man, Wade replied. Gardner cited the fact that Matthews was sexually assaulted. No one is excluded at the moment, and they're reviewing suspects according to Gardner. The prosecutors said they have dozens of pieces of physical evidence. They may or may not yield DNA. The evidence includes blood-stained sheets and pillows and the clothing of the decedents, according to Gardner. You would think the main person you'd want to be thoroughly testing would be the mother, Gail Matthews, since she was sexually assaulted. The prosecutors said they have dozens of pieces of physical evidence that they may or may not yield DNA. The evidence includes blood-stained sheets and pillows and the clothing of the decedents, according to Gardner. I guarantee there's evidence that we can resubmit to see if there's other areas that can be swabbed or cut. Lab tests stained areas of evidence first, but invisible DNA such as skin cells deposited on abrasive areas of clothing are more likely to have been overlooked, according to Wade. If you get a swab of skin cells and crack them open, you will get human DNA every time. Over time, DNA can scatter, deposit in the environment, or degrade, Wade explained. How will prosecutors ensure that DNA evidence from 25 years ago hasn't been degraded or contaminated? If it's degraded, that's evident from a forensic standpoint when you go to test it, Wade said. Contamination occurs when DNA is added to a sample, such as when a lab technician fails to wear gloves. Containing DNA samples adds to it. It doesn't subtract from it. The above example of a gloveless lab tech would simply add a known DNA sample to the mix, Wade said. A known example could then be eliminated as a suspect. What makes the district attorney's office think they might be able to solve a crime that so many others have failed to crack? Oh, that's a question. What makes them think that? A fresh set of eyes with a tremendous amount of experience, Gardner said, referring to a newly formed team of retired city police officers assigned to the cold case. Williamsport City Police Department agent Justin Snyder and Lycoming County Detective Trent Peacock, Leonard Dincher, and Stephen Sorage will investigate and offer a strong knowledge base. For the first time in a long time, there's finally a team. Before it was only one person on this case. Oh, look at that. There's Ken Maines. He does YouTube. Doing a very good job, but with limited manpower. Prosecutors are hopeful that advancements in DNA technology also might help to solve the Matthews and Burkheiser homicides. DNA today is tested differently than it was 5 years ago. Regardless of the outcome, Wade said there is a moral imperative to keep working to bring the family justice. You know, we have 0 gifted channel memberships tonight. What's up with that? I mean, we're only at $45 and 0 gifted channel memberships. Any chance you guys can help support the channel tonight? That would be fantastic. Hey, look at Lisa Valenzuela. Hey, we got Jessica Schubach gifted a membership. There's one of them. Lisa Valenzuela said she'll give, if there's just 5 randomly gifted channel memberships, then she'll donate $25 in coffee. And so that would be good. Thank you, guys. So we got 1. We need 4 more gifted coffees, or gifted memberships. So just 4 more gifted memberships. So then, now this is 2024. This isn't that long ago. Family members doubt the 30-year-old slaying of PA mother-daughter can be solved. Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess they're not going to let me read it now. Well, let's see if I turn off this. Yeah, they let you read it once, and if you go back, they block it out. So I guess we're not going to be able to look at it. Obviously, they didn't solve it, so. This is September 2025, this one. Okay, and look at, you can see the home, see that? Looks a little different. There's a little bit of a thing there. But that is the house, see that? All right, guys, we need 4 more gifted channel memberships to reach the challenge, right? Shouldn't be difficult. And there she is right there. "23-year-old Gail Matthews and her 5-year-old daughter, Tamara Burkheiser, were killed inside the Williamsport home in September of 1994. 2022 News Team reporter Andy Mahalchik was on the crime that day and has been working the case over the years. Lycoming County District Attorney Tom Marino told 2822 News that the case was never really closed, but now he says he hopes that new technology, namely DNA technology, can help bring the killer to justice and give family peace. You could hear a pin drop as the bodies of Matthew and Burkheiser were taken out of their home on Center Street in Williamsport on September 2nd, 1994. They both had been stabbed, strangled, and beaten to death. You could see video from 1994 District Attorney Tom Marino walking around with the bodies. It was shocking. We took it hard as hard as we should. Just a woman and her child murdered, Marino said. Maybe they have something in, like some video of that in here. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, that's crazy. Jeez. So that was her being brought out, and then the child they actually showed too. You see that? Is there any chance we can get those other 4 gifted memberships? There's the child being taken out. Yeah, so Marty said he would even join it. So if you guys really want to help support the channel when we get these challenges, that's the only way to do it. Because then it's 2 for 1 on your part. So if we get 4 more gifted channel memberships, it'll help sort of move us forward. You know, we're not. It doesn't seem like we're going to reach the goal. There's obviously not very much interest in supporting the channel tonight, but you know, it is what it is. Anyways, that was video from the time. Yeah, so they obviously updated that. That there's that second little roof thing isn't there. Hey, there's Jessica Schubach again. So we need 3 more now, you guys. Yes, the picture when I walked into the bedroom in the little girl's room and saw her mother and her, it was heartbreaking. Marino left the office in 2002. He returned to the office several years ago and says the case has never left his mind. Over the past 3 decades, suspects have been questioned, properties searched, and the families have held protests and vigils demanding answers, demanding justice. Do you think you know who the murderer is? Yes, the sister and aunt of the victim, Julie Strobel, said. Well, hey, there you go. Thanks, Scott. Again. All right. Man, I'm sure where everybody else is tonight, but there you go. I think that did it. Marino said evidence collected 3 decades ago was sent recently to labs for analysis. Evidence, he is hopeful, and this is an article from just a few months ago, so let's see. A Williamsport man was charged twice in connection with the murders. In fact, we are waiting for 1 sample to come back. Hopefully, it will get back here in the next couple of months. This is high-tech genetic coding, Marino explained. And so this was September of 2025, so, you know, it could still be out there. Hey, thanks, Lisa Valenzuela. Interesting. Man, I hope we get an update on that one. That one's sad. I mean, who the hell knows? Obviously, they did... I mean, was by herself with a kid, so there's obviously an ex. But then, I don't know, it's weird that there's a sexual assault component to it. That's usually, like in a case like that, an ex would have just killed them to avoid paying child support. There wouldn't be a sexual assault. So I would think that, you know, That first one was a very good. The guy that was charged twice, that was a good suspect. Hey, so thanks Jessica Schubach and Scotterville. All right, well that's it on that one, you guys. Just that's how cold some of these are. There wasn't. I mean, there was more than some cases for sure. So let me move that into the completed folder. Oh, and here's one that's really short. Milagros Nieves, unsolved homicide victim, September 22nd, 1993. In Bridgeport, Connecticut. Let me put that one in there. All right, so that's her, and then I think there was just one newspaper article. I mean, how sad is that? And look at it, it's one that you would think would have been covered over and over because it's kind of weird. Let me put that in there. Let me put her apartment in there. 223 Iranistan. That's funny. Iranistan Avenue, Bridgeport. Okay, so she must have lived in this apartment. So this is milligrams lived here. All right, there we go. Got it. And thanks, Lisa Valenzuela. I don't know if, well, I think you already joined her, Marty, earlier, didn't you? But staying out of chat, I just help my boy out. He works hard on this, and I know what I... Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, you know, we've already donated $1,000 this month, and I hope that I can do another 2 at the end of the month. Just based on where we're at, it's not one of those great months that you have. You know, there's people that have been great. Other than them, we'd be having a horrendous month. Yeah, that was pretty cool, wasn't it? DDW. Hey, thanks, Jim Lawn. What the hell is a gigawatt? Where is that thing? I don't even know. Where the heck is it? 1.1. Oh, there it is.
1.21 gigawatts. What the hell is a gigawatt?
Yeah, I thought that was a good show. I think I should make a video just with that part on it, except it would just be a disaster. Everybody would unsubscribe because you got the holier-than-thou soccer mommies out there on social media that don't really give a shit about trying to learn anything because they know better than everybody else. All right. But I thought last night was when we played the I had that conversation with ChatGPT. It was amazing. I thought that was really good. Anyways, a 49-year-old woman who was stabbed at least 25 times, her 14-month-old grandchild looked on. I mean, isn't that just sick? So, a 49-year-old woman who was stabbed at least 25 times while her 14-month-old grandchild looked on was found dead Wednesday afternoon in her blood-splattered South End apartment. Deputy Police Chief Robert Cafferty, who headed a team of 10 detectives at the crime scene, said Milagros Nieves was found laying face up on the kitchen floor in her apartment, so she's on her back, at 223 Iranistan Avenue by her live-in boyfriend, who returned home from work at about 3:30 p.m. Cafferty said the woman's neck was slashed with a deep wound in the side, and there were multiple wounds in her chest, flanks, arms, and legs. She had many defensive type wounds indicating she tried to fight off her attacker. He estimated that Nieves had been killed at about 8:30 a.m. As word of the murder spread, Nieves' children and other relatives rushed to her home, creating an emotionally charged scene outside the apartment building, which overlooks the ball fields at Seaside. Yeah, look at that. Exactly. So it's the same. Even though this was 1993. And that park was adjacent to the University of Bridgeport campus. One sister who became hysterical while embracing other relatives fainted, but declined medical attention when an ambulance arrived. Several relatives who declined to give their names said they were unable to understand why anyone would do anything so vicious to such a nice woman. They said she had no known enemies and was very popular with her neighbors. Sergeant Joseph Sherbo, the detective handling the investigation, said Nieves was last seen alive at about 8 a.m. when her daughter dropped off the toddler before going to work. Wow, that's crazy. He noted that the victim usually followed a set daily pattern, so that must be, maybe somebody noticed that. She never made it to the first stop, which would have been her sister's apartment in Marina Village, where she would have left the baby at about 11 a.m. before taking care of personal business and picking up an 8-year-old granddaughter at school. Edwin Rivera, the boyfriend, returned home and found the baby with blood on her hands, and clothing, walking near the grandmother's body. So the 1.5-year-old was just probably right next, like touching the grandmother, saying Grammy, trying to wake her up. What a sick. He took her to the victim's sister's apartment where police were notified. Let's see, hold on. Okay, so the roommate, he took the 1.5-year-old to the victim's sister's apartment where police were notified of the homicide at about 3:50 p.m. Sherbo said there was no sign of forced entry into the apartment, but the bedroom and living room had been ransacked. So maybe somebody came in to rob the place after they noticed that the guy left. Like Edwin left, so I don't know. On its face, it appears to be a robbery gone bad. I don't know. It's stabbings. I don't really associate somebody stabbing somebody 25 times with a robbery. There's something else going on there. I could see you stabbing a person, maybe twice as a sort of like, get the hell out of here. This person, when you stab somebody 25 times like that, there's rage. And why would you be raged at, that angry at somebody if you're you know, just robbing a place. There's something else happening here. On its face, it appears to be a robbery gone bad, the sergeant said, adding that investigators have not yet established a motive for the homicide. It's quite apparent the perpetrator was looking for something. An autopsy. Oh, yeah, they were looking for something. Okay, well, then that is different than just a robbery. Like, you go in. So if you think they're looking for something, that means there's something that they were aware of, and maybe they only know of it because they know the victim. An autopsy is scheduled for the morning at the chief medical examiner. Police said this was the 48th homicide in the city this year. And then there's like nothing. There was no more articles. I mean, how sad is that? Yeah, she just didn't match the mold. The first article was good, but you'd think that it'd keep going. But hey, guys, any chance you can help support the channel? We do have 7 memberships. Right now we're at about, I don't know, 4th of a nightly goal. So see if there's a chance that the random low number of freaks here tonight can get us there. On September 22nd, 1993, 49-year-old Milagros Nieves was found, this is 2020, was found lying on her kitchen floor in a pool of her own blood with multiple stab wounds. Her bedroom was ransacked with no sign of forcible entry into her apartment. Yeah, and only her room. See, that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, and that's probably why they say that. They were looking for something specific because it was her room that was ransacked. Nieves' 14-month-old grandson was also in the residence at the time of the murder, but was left unharmed. Police remember that these are directly submitted by family members. Our organization, this Project Cold Case, doesn't investigate cases. Speculation on the details of the case is often more harmful. Nah, not on this channel though. We actually do it the right way, where it's reasonable. All right, let's see. We speculate based on the facts of the case, not something made up like the Proburger nut jobs. Hey, thanks, Jim Lawn.
1.21 gigawatts. What the hell is a gigawatt?
All right. And this is another, this one's from, let's see, 2014, this article. So it's actually before that last one, but this is 20 years after the murders. Let's see. On the date of September 22nd, 1993, Bridgeport police were called to the address of 223 Iranistan Avenue in Bridgeport on the report of a homicide. When police arrived on scene, they found a female, later identified as Milagros Nieves, lying on the kitchen floor in a pool of her own blood. Police found that the victim had an excess of 25 stab wounds on her body, and that her throat had been cut as well. There was no forcible entry to the apartment. Police found blood stains on the outside apartment doorknob and throughout the apartment, including the kitchen area where she was found, and in a hallway leading to her bedroom. The bedroom was ransacked with dresser drawers pulled out and clothes strewn around the room. And that's interesting, right? Like, why is it just the clothes being pulled out of the drawers? Milagros Nieves babysat for her 14-month-old granddaughter every day while her daughter was at work. The child, Carmen Diaz, was inside the apartment when her grandmother was murdered. Police learned that she was dropped off every morning at around 7:30 hours and picked up in the afternoon. There was no quick arrest in the case. Police looked for witnesses, gathered evidence from the crime scene, and tried to identify suspects. They met with and spoke to all the apartment building residents, but didn't get any information concerning the crime. The investigation into the murder of Milagros Nieves lagged on without resolution and because no new information was received by police. The investigation remained open and took on new life in 2005. In June of 2005, police received information from the Department of Corrections. A letter indicated that an inmate had killed the lady in the apartment in Bridgeport. In 2005, evidence from the crime scene was again submitted to the state lab for comparison. But this is when you should be submitting it. Let's see. Comparison against the inmate. Police still need more information to proceed with the arrest. Well, if you're comparing it to the inmate, then that must mean you have a DNA sample. And if you do, why aren't you doing FGG? Is that all there was? Yeah. So there you go. And believe it or not, that's all there is. I mean, that case was... It was pretty detailed, though. I mean, at least it had information in it. All right, here's another one that has almost nothing. I mean, in fact, there's only, literally nothing on this one. You would think there would have been something, but... Oh, is that the Project Cold Case version? Hold on. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that. Let me just go. So this is the picture. This is in La Cruces, New Mexico. Back in 1976. And here we go. This is today's wrap-up. And it just says down here, it says, the woman... Okay. Police say they are looking for several persons who were seen with a young woman in El Paso, Texas. I don't even know if this is the same. The night before her body was found. Okay, there he goes. Near La Cruces, alongside some railroad tracks. Rick Moore, Donna Ana County Sheriff investigator, said there was no evidence of foul play in the death of the young woman. But he said authorities would like to question 5 or 6 persons seen with her Monday night in El Paso. The woman's body was found Tuesday alongside some railroad tracks about 20 miles south of La Cruces. Officers said the body was identified Thursday as that of Catherine Connectus, 19, of Monona, Wisconsin. I wonder if that would... Maybe, let's see, hold on. Let me see if... would that... I didn't really notice that. I'm going to see if there's... Wisconsin might have actually had articles. Let's see. 1976... Wisconsin. I don't know, because I didn't even use New Mexico when I did that. Yeah, I guess. New Mexico police say let me put that in there. This is from April 2nd. It looks similar. April 2nd. April 3rd. Okay, yeah, this is stuff, different dates, so hold on. I didn't even think of looking in Wisconsin. And then how about 1977 to 2000? I mean, that's such a random name. You're not gonna. Yeah. So, well, is that another? There was actually another person with their name. I mean, what are the odds of that? You know, some other person named Catherine Connectjus, or whatever the hell that is. Isn't that amazing? All right, let's just start over here. 1976, 04, 02. I like to put them in. Whenever you name a file, start with a year, month, date. So when it comes with April 3rd, 1976, what you really want is 1976-04-03. That way, when you sort it, it gets everything in the correct order. All right, so we're going to go like this. New Mexico police say a Monona woman, Catherine Connectus, 19, whose body was found near railroad tracks south of La Cruces earlier this week, apparently died of massive head injuries. Now you might think, oh wow, that may be a train. Sheriff investigators Rick Moore said the probable cause of death was indicated in a preliminary autopsy report. Moore said there has been no evidence of foul play. However, he is trying to locate and question 5 or 6 persons who were seen with Miss Connectus Monday night in El Paso, Texas, for questioning. Miss Connectus' body was found Tuesday about 20 miles south of La Cruces. She was identified by the state medical examiner office through dental charts. Moore quoted the medical examiner office as saying that she probably wasn't dead prior to receiving the head injuries. Miss Connectus, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. William J. Connectus of 1304 Baskerville Avenue, was a 1974 graduate of Monona Grove High School. After graduation, she and a friend had traveled through Canada to Alaska, where she had worked for a year. So that means she's probably about 70 years old now, if she was still alive. All right, guys, let's see if we can get some more support for the channel. I know. There's only 74 of you tonight. I came on kind of late. In addition to her parents, she is survived by other sisters, Deborah, Laura, and Linda Heidi. So it says after graduation, she and a friend had traveled through Canada to Alaska, where she had worked for a year in Fairbanks. That's not what I was looking for. This one's from the second again. Police say they're looking for several persons who were seen with a young woman in El Paso, Texas, the night before her body was found near La Cruces alongside some railroad tracks. Rick Moore, Donna Ann County Sheriff investigators said there was no evidence of foul play in the death of the young woman, but he said authorities would like to question 5 or 6 persons seen with her. The woman, and that was on Monday, the woman's body was found Tuesday alongside some railroad tracks about 20 miles south of La Cruces. Moore said the identification by the state medical examiner's office was made through dental charts. Moore said a preliminary autopsy report indicated the woman died of massive head injuries. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Okay, they already identified her. Same thing. So let's see if this one on the 3rd, it's the only one, and then after that there's 0. Head injuries have been blamed for the death of Monona woman whose body was found earlier this week beside railroad tracks. Catherine Connectus, 19, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. William Connectus, 1304 Bakersville Avenue. A sheriff investigator said there is no evidence of foul play. However, investigators said they were searching Connectus. They were searching for 5 or 6 persons seen with Miss Connectus. Yeah, but they've ruled it a homicide, that somebody did it. The medical examiner's office said a preliminary autopsy report, death was from massive head injuries, and said she probably wasn't dead before she received the injuries. Miss Connectus graduated in 1974 from Monona Grove High School. And that's it for that one. Isn't that wild? I mean, it's like, what do you do with these kind? But hey, at least it was mentioned again out there, It's crazy. Hey, thanks, this account. How's it going? This account. All right, let's take a look at this one. Did we do this one the other day? It feels like we did this one. Do you guys remember that? Valencia Reynolds. Maybe I just didn't put it into the completed one. It sort of seems like it. Yeah, the one that was pregnant. Did we do that one, you guys? Let me see. Yeah, well, it just feels like we did. Like, isn't that the one where it was on that street? Yeah, Valencia Reynolds. Let me go to that street. Yeah, it just feels like we did that. Let me just look at this. Yeah. And it was this house right there. I think we did this one, right? Almost positive. Anybody else remember that? The body of Valencia Reynolds, 21. Yeah, and then, yeah, I remember reading these because they were specific originally, and then they started changing it up. So, yeah, I did this one. All right, so let me put that one in the completed folder. All right, let's try this one then. Joanna Rodriguez, unsolved homicide victim, February 2nd, 1990, Louisville, Kentucky. Oh, I already had that one in there. Did we already do this one too then? Joanna Rodriguez? Maybe those are two that I didn't delete. Hold on. Did we do that one? That's crazy. I must not have put it into the completed folder. Louisville police were still searching for clues last night in the stabbing death yesterday morning of 16-year-old Joanna Rodriguez. Rodriguez was in her apartment at 746 Douglas Park by her by her mother, who told officers that she was awakened by her daughter's screams at 3:30. Did we do that one? Okay, we did do that. Yeah. See, I have that. That sounded familiar too. Okay, cool. So I'm just trying to get as many into the completed. All right, so how about, let's see, the other one. Yeah, I remember that one now. That was a couple nights ago. Gloria Schomeyer. Let's see this one. That's her right there. Did we do that? We didn't do that one, right? Schomler, not Schomeyer. You know, it's weird, as I'd seen that picture in that Faces of Unsolved Homicides, but I don't know if I didn't think I ever did it. Okay, this is 1987, and I think this one, people were wondering if she was related, if Rex, I think, no, this is a different one. There's one of these ones I have in here that people think maybe Rex Heuermann did. All right, let's see. Amador County officials are investigating the apparent stabbing death of Gloria Schomler, whose body was found Monday morning, her 33rd birthday, in the bedroom of her home. Detective Sergeant Gene Edwards of the Amador County Sheriff's Office said the cause of death had not been determined officially, but she had been stabbed several times. The body was found by Schomler's children, ages 2 and 7. Isn't that weird how many of these types of cases we have? I mean, even, Tepe is like that. The body was found by Schomler's children, aged 2 and 7. The victim's husband, Brian Schomler, is a correctional officer at Folsom Prison. I wonder if that has some sort of connection. He was at work during the earlier hours of Monday morning, officials said. Maybe there's some inmate that was pissed off and got somebody to do something. All right, you guys, massive lulls in here tonight. Gloria Jean died January 12, 1987, at her home near Pioneer, the victim of a homicide. She was 33. The day of her death, she was born January 12, 1954, in Oakland, was raised in Castro Valley, and moved to Amador County with her family in 1981. Was a past employee of the Mervyn's department store in Hayward, survived by her beloved husband Brian of Pioneer, 3 daughters, Christy, Andrea, and Amber, her mother Helen Lauder of Pioneer, 3 brothers, Tim Lauder of Castro Valley, Jim Lauder of Pioneer, and Dan Lauder of Livermore, and a sister, Lorene Bossum. That's her. That's her yearbook. Castro Valley High School. Yearbook date 1969. I'm not sure why I have these arrows here. Birth date, death date. Yeah, I think that showed that it was her, because that's when she was killed, January 12th. It seems like I must have sent this to somebody. I don't know why I would do that. During the evening hours of January 11, 1987, the victim, Gloria Schaumler, along with her husband Brian and 3 young children, were at their residence in Pioneer. While the 3 children were upstairs and went to bed, the victim and her husband remained downstairs. According to Brian Schaumler, he left for work after his daughters went to bed for the night. The 3 daughters told deputies that when they awoke early on the morning of January 12th, they went to their parents' bedroom and found their mother in bed. When the daughters could not wake her, they went next door and told their grandmother. At approximately 7:40 hours, the Amador County Sheriff's Office received a call reporting the death of Gloria Schaumler. When deputies arrived at the Schaumler residence, they found Gloria Schaumler lying on her bed, and she was deceased. A subsequent autopsy determined Gloria died as a result of stab wounds to her chest and abdomen. The evidence and interviews have not, to date, led to the arrest of the person or persons responsible for the murder. This case still remains open, and the Amador County Sheriff's Office is asking anyone with any information to contact Sheriff's Office at 209-223-6515. I think it's here too. I think it's the same. That's what I screen grabbed. Which one is this? I guess I don't have this one anymore. And that's her find a grave. Schaumler was murdered in her home with her while her husband was at work and she and her children were asleep. I guess it's sort of probably questionable, like, you know, could the husband have done it before he went to work? You know, I guess that's kind of... That sucks. Looks like that picture and this one were taken the same day, doesn't it? I mean, this one she's looking right at the camera and this one she's looking off, but obviously it's the same. I mean, with the black top and everything. No, her kids were. Her husband had already taken off for work. And believe it or not, that's all there was on that one. And let's see. Here's another one. I thought this guy looked like he was probably a fun dude just looking at the picture. You know, this one. Doesn't he look like kind of a fun dude? Just like, hey! You know, I don't know. He just seems funny. Dalton Smith, unsolved homicide victim, August 9th, 1974, Kettering, Ohio. All right. Not a lot on this one either. Supervisor fatally shot. Dalton Smith, 43, a supervisor for the Price brothers, was shot to death Thursday night in a bar. This one, it's kind of weird circumstances. Thursday night in a bar dispute at April's Country Club at, let's see, 3942 South Kettering in Kettering, Ohio. So there's the bar back in the day. Man, that's a... Let's see if it kind of looked like that even in... Yeah, 1994 it looked like that. This is 20 years before that. Can't see anything there. 1994, it's there. Now it's a funeral home. You kidding me? April, it used to be a country club. Now it's a funeral home. I mean, how ridiculous. This was called April's Country Club. Now funeral home. That's nuts. Let's see, what is it from over here? Yeah, I guess that's just what it is. It's cremators, funeral, reception, whatever. Okay, well that's what it is now. I guess too many ghosts traveling around in that bar, so they go, hey, you know what? Let's just turn this sucker into a funeral home. We already had people dying here anyways. Police said the morning, let's see. Police said this morning they believe they have a suspect, but that no arrest has been made. The shooting happened at around 11 p.m. Smith died at 12:30 a.m. today at Kettering Medical Center of a chest wound, a hospital attendant said. Then the other article, I think, has a little bit more in it. It's kind of weird, you know. Moraine man killed at tavern. A 43-year-old Moraine man was fatally shot at Kettering Tavern Thursday night, apparently after making a brief comment to the gunman, Kettering police reported. Police have a nickname of the gunman. I mean, jeez, who fled after the shooting. But no one was in custody last night, according to police. Dalton N. Smith, let's see where he lived. I like to. So he lived at 2913. What the heck? Is it over here? Oh yeah, 2913. Telhurst Court. Is that Moraine? Okay, it's probably not. Okay, it's just right over here. But he lived in this house. Dalton lived here at 2913. I wonder if that's let's just see if it looks like. Yeah, so that never changed. That's exactly what it looked like back then. I can guarantee you. Yeah, that's what it looked like. That house is from way back then. All right, any chance we can get I think we just need like 5 more channel memberships, and then we have reached the minimum goal level. That'd be pretty cool, you guys. See if you can do that. I mean, with this little people, that gives me hope. Even though not on YouTube, it's combining the coffees. All right, back to this. But don't you find it kind of interesting, just these little ones that are not a lot, but it gives you something to just kind of, you just sort of think about it, and that's all there is, though. But it's just another sort of randomness situation. It's like police have a nickname, so they got a nickname of the guy. Dalton N. Smith of 2913 Telhurst Court was shot once in the abdomen with a small caliber handgun about 11:15 p.m. inside April's Country Club, now a funeral home. It doesn't say that, but Kettering Boulevard, according to police. He died at 12:30 a.m. yesterday at Kettering Medical Center. The Montgomery County Coroner's Office said. So there's just this one part down here. It says, it's an unusual case because apparently there was no argument and no punches thrown, Kettering Detective Dennis Braun said. According to a report by the Coroner's Office, Smith was standing at the bar talking to some girls when the gunman came out of the men's room behind Smith. Smith said, "Hey, pal, don't sneak up on me from the rear." The gunman pulled out a gun and fired, the report said. The gunman fled out the back door following the shooting, police said. That's crazy. It almost feels like it's somebody, he probably didn't even know any of these people, just shot him out of, like he wanted to be the guy talking to the girls. And he wasn't that. And then he sort of felt like, hey, hey, pal, don't sneak up from the rear. And then he's like, screw you. And then boom, and then he's out of there. I bet you that person has done other killings. But hey, guys, 5 more channel memberships, and we'll reach the minimum goal. Can we do it? I say no. I don't think so. It's just been another one of those absolute struggles. And guess what? That's all there is on this guy. There is nothing more. But I think this is interesting. Like, man, they've got a nickname, and then he didn't really fight or do anything. The guy just came out the bathroom and he said, "Hey, pal, don't sneak up from..." I mean, you wonder how he said it, though. Did he go, "Hey, pal, don't sneak up on me from the rear"? Or did he say, "Hey, pal, don't sneak up on me from the rear"? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, that would have been goofy sounding. Hey, there's one by Lisa Valenzuela. Hell, maybe there is a shot in hell. All right. Maybe there is a shot. Oh, that's it. All right, so there's that one. All right, now we go to another one. All right, maybe this one will take longer, so I'll make a... Well, we've got Lisa Valenzuela. Who else? Oh, and Sandy Shirley jumped in there. Thanks, Sandy. Ah, jeez. Ugh. All right, here we go. Terry and Betty Jackson, unsolved homicide victims. We haven't done that one, right? Let me close all these. Usually they don't put them together like that. They just put one. It's pretty good stuff there, Marty. And this is in Loganville, Georgia. All right, here we go. Here we go. Oh yeah, so it happened on June 5th. This is June 6th. The 19-year-old daughter of a Walton County couple found shot to death Thursday, this is Friday, was being questioned as a possible suspect early this afternoon. No charges have been filed, however, said investigator Jesse R. Doster of the Walton County Sheriff Department. Earlier this morning, Walton Sheriff Department investigators returned to the scene and searched the area around the mobile home where the bodies of Terry Jackson, 35, and his wife Betty, 38, were found at about 5:15 p.m. Thursday. It's in Atlanta. Well, this is in the Atlanta paper. The investigators, let's see, Miss Jackson was Betty Jackson's child by a previous marriage. So let's see, it was Terry Jackson, 35, and his wife Betty. Okay, Terry is a guy. Miss Jackson was Betty Jackson's child by a previous marriage. Okay, the 19-year-old. All right, guys, 3 more. The investigators refused to discuss the case as they searched the Jackson home on Center Hill Church Road in the South Community. Let's see. Center Hill Church Road. And what did they say this was? Town. Yeah, Loganville. Okay. So there it was. Loganville, Georgia. Maybe there's a place where there's a trailer park or something. Center Hill Church Road. Investigators refused to discuss it. Yeah, again, Jesse Jackson, the father of the slain man, said his son was shot in the back of the head while sitting in a chair, and his body was dragged into the kitchen. Well, how would the daughter do that? They dragged him into the kitchen and just left him on the floor. Whoever shot him apparently waited for Mrs. Jackson to return home from work and then shot her as she got out of her car. Jackson said his son had several $100s in his possession at the time of the slaying. That money has not been found, said Walton Sheriff Franklin Thornton. There was no sign of a struggle. And the house had not been ransacked. Thornton had it. What's this over here? Investigator Jesse Jackson left, whose son and daughter-in-law were found slain Thursday. Talks with GBI agents and Walton County deputies. The slain man owned an auto repair shop next door to his home. Today that shop was closed and about a dozen cars sat unattended in front of the garage. Let's see. Nearest auto repair shop. Oh, nope. So I don't see any right there. Let's see. Auto repair shop on Center Hill Church Road. Yeah. There's some up here, but yeah, maybe it just closed down at the time. Oh wait, maybe that was the dad. Jackson had operated the shop for about 8 years, his father said. Okay, so it was the son, the one that was killed. He was raised less than half a mile away in the home his father had lived in for 23 years. So this is 1986. Let me see if he shows up and been verified. But hey guys, we just need 3 more channel memberships to get to the minimum nightly goal, which means it wasn't a great night at all, but at least we got to a number that... Alright. So his name is Terry Jackson, which is probably pretty damn common. However, we know that he lived in... what was the name of that town? Hold on. Loganville. Okay. And he was 35 in 86, so about 40 years. He would be 75 if he was still alive. And there's none. Let's see what this one is. It could have, let's just see if it randomly, there's only one that didn't have a date on it. Well, that could be him. Let's see. Alright, well there's an address of a person right there with the same name. Doesn't have an age. I don't know. It's not in. It doesn't seem to be in there. Unfortunately. Three more channel memberships needed by the freaks. Alright, let's see. So that's not it. Got a 17. Back up here again. Terry and Betty Jackson had been married for about 15 years. Mrs. Jackson worked for the U.S. Postal Service at its Crown Road facility. Thornton described the couple as a very good folk. As far as I know, he didn't have an enemy in the world, Jackson's father said. He was just a nice kind of a guy, a regular fellow. Jesse Jackson said his son's pistol was missing and may have been used to kill him. Both Terry's gun and the murder weapon were large caliber pistols. Let's see. Both Terry's gun and the murder weapon were large caliber pistols. The authorities figure it was his gun that they shot him with, or at least one similar to it. Well, I mean, the fact that it's missing makes it likely that's what it was. Hey, thanks, Wonder Woman. Hey, just 2 more to make a mildly successful late night. This morning, the investigators kept reporters and curious neighbors far from the Jackson mobile home, which sits about 300 feet from the Center Hill Church Road down a tree-lined gravel driveway. Yeah, I guess we don't really have the specific address or anything. Daughter held as witness. Okay, they have this little map here. Let's see if we can just sort of, looking at the map, figure this out. Let's see where Walton is. Walton, Georgia. Okay, so that's Walton, way up, way over there. So they have. Well, where's Loganville? That doesn't really make a lot of sense because that road that they're talking about was way down here, and then the couple was slain off of, what is that, highway? Well, they have it at 20. Let's see where Loganville is. Loganville, Georgia. Yeah, see, that's down more where that road is. Okay, so there's Loganville. Now maybe I had it rotated around. And there's 78 that they mentioned. And then they have Highway 20. Oh, there is 20 right there. Okay. And then here's Centerville. So it must be somewhere. I mean, I think we're pretty close to the area, but it looks totally different now, I'm sure. All right, guys, we need 2 more. Can't we do it? Mrs. Jackson was not charged, but was being held as a material witness. The killing stunned the rural community. Jackson, who owned a one-man auto repair garage. I think that's pretty much the same as the other one. All right, let's see. What about this one? That's the same. Well, there's Wonder Woman again. Wonder Woman! Get us out from under! Remember that? The show. But, yeah, so then it was like 1986, and then I'm not sure what this is. Let's see. Talmadge Osborne told the jury it was about 11:30 that night when he heard the noise. It was a sound like a loud gunshot followed by the distinctive roar of his neighbor's car. Osborne didn't think much about it. It wasn't unusual to hear gunshots in rural wooded area near his home, he said, and his neighbor Terry Jackson was a mechanic who often worked late into the night in his shop next to the trailer where he and his wife Betty lived. I presumed it was Terry leaving. So this guy, what is this? It says September 1986. So it'd be weird. It's amazing if. So I think the daughter was actually charged, and then it went to trial. Osborne didn't think much about it. It wasn't unusual to hear that. So down here it says, I presumed it was Terry leaving, but I didn't know. But the next evening, investigators came to talk to Osborne about what he'd heard and seen the night before. His neighbor had been killed. Terry Jackson's body had been found inside the trailer. Betty Jackson's body was found in the driveway outside the trailer. This week, Deborah Sue Jackson, 19, went on trial. That's the daughter. Went on trial in Walton County Superior Court, accused of murdering her mother and stepfather. District Attorney John Ott says he has circumstantial case against the slim brunette who appeared in court Tuesday wearing a white jacket and rose-colored skirt. Hey, thanks, Jim Long.
1.21 gigawatts. What the hell is a gigawatt?
All right. And thanks to everybody else for helping. At least we got to the minimum, you know, the goal level where it's like, okay, you know, at least we had a show. I mean, on the show itself, we got up to, let's see, I think 140 total. You know, normally we do like 400 on the show, and you know, then YouTube takes its percentage, and then blah 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 blah. Yeah, but we also got some coffees in there, so that was good. So this week, Deborah Sue Jackson's son, Jackson, 19, went on trial in Walton County Superior Court, accused of murdering her mother and stepfather. District Attorney John Ott says he has circumstantial case against the slim brunette who appeared in court Tuesday wearing a white jacket and rose-colored skirt. Ott says the motive for the killing will be revealed during the trial. But Miss Jackson's court-appointed lawyer, Mike Jones, says investigators have accused the wrong person. Much of the testimony Tuesday came from investigators from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation and Walton County Sheriff's Department, who were at the scene. They testified that they found a blood-soaked chair in the trailer. The bodies were discovered on the afternoon of June 4th after a customer went to Terry Jackson's auto repair shop to check on a car. Because no one was at the shop, the customer drove to the Jacksons' nearby trailer and spotted Mrs. Jackson's body in the driveway. Members of the Jackson family indicated to investigators that Deborah Jackson was a possible suspect in the shootings, said Billy Shepard, agent in charge of the GBI office at Athens, who was involved in the investigation. Although a murder weapon was not found, Miss Jackson was arrested the next day in possession of her father's car. Osborne said he was awakened at about 11:30 p.m. the next day before the bodies were found because his mother, who lived in the same house, needed medicine. He heard the shot, he testified, and then saw the lights of a car moving out of the repair driveway onto the main road and then down a second driveway towards the trailer. A few minutes later, the car came back to the main road and sped away, he said. So it went from the office to the trailer house and then took off. Yeah, so I think this is like part of the trial. So this is the next day. A 19-year-old woman accused of murdering her mother and stepfather. Hello, Kathleen. Are you going to be normal tonight?
What does that mean, Gray? I'm always normal, you bastard.
That's right. And we, the coffee queen, Lisa, and we also had
Marty's Bar and Grill.
All right. A 19-year-old woman accused of murdering her mother and stepfather had a strained relationship with her parents because she was not allowed to drive. Family, friends, and relatives testified Wednesday. Deborah Sue Jackson, parents, wouldn't let her drive the family's car because she had been involved in several wrecks and got numerous speeding tickets, said Janice Watkins of Roswell, Georgia, who described herself as the best friend of Betty Jackson. Mrs. Jackson, 38, was a strict parent. Mrs. Watkins testified, and the relationship between mother and daughter was strained because of Deborah not being able to drive. The relationship between Miss Jackson and her stepfather, Terry Jackson, 35, was so cool that the two seldom spoke to one another. Family members told a Walton County Superior Court jury. I know they didn't get along, testified Jesse Jackson, Terry Jackson's father. They were nothing like a father and son should be. I thought it was a girl. What do you mean father and son? It'd be father and daughter, wouldn't it? I mean, oh yeah, and then he says, I mean a father and daughter. He says it in the next sentence. That's funny. That's crazy. That's hilarious. Betty and Terry Jackson were shot to death at their trailer in a rural area near the youth community in early June. The day after the bodies were found, Miss Jackson was arrested at her boyfriend's home. She was in possession of her father's car when arrested. I mean, jeez. Terry Jackson, a mechanic who operated a garage near the trailer, repeatedly told his parents that Deborah would never be allowed to use the family's car. That's right. So he told Jesse Jackson. He once told Ruth Jackson, his mother, that he would burn his car rather than let his stepdaughter drive it. He said the only way she would drive it would be over his dead body, she said. Oh. Miss Jackson was living with a friend in an apartment in Lilburn in early June and returned to her parents' trailer on June 4th, according to another friend who gave her a ride to the trailer. Miss Jackson said she planned to stay several days. It's kind of cool just having these trial recaps here. That's what we're looking at. A 19-year-old woman accused of killing her mother and stepdaughter at their trailer home near Logansville testified today that she was at Stone Mountain Park watching a laser show the night her parents were slain. Testifying in her own defense, Deborah Sue Jackson told a Walton County Superior Court jury that she had gone to her parents' home the afternoon of June 4th to wash clothes. While she was there, she said her mother, Betty Jackson, called and told her to take her father's car so she could go to a job interview 2 days later. No way, man. Because remember how adamant they were? Miss Jackson, who lived in an apartment in Lilburn, said she got the keys from her stepfather, Terry Jackson. That's total bullshit. He wouldn't do that. And left in the early evening to find her boyfriend, Ricky. I'm just wondering if this Ricky and her did something. They just couldn't prove it because they used his gun. Miss Jackson said she was unable to locate Nud and went to the park. She said she drove around Stone Mountain and returned to her apartment late that night. She did not learn of her parents' death, she testified, until the evening of June 5th when she was arrested at Nud's home. Let's see. GBI agents and Walton County Sheriff deputies told her she was under arrest. He said, "You murdered your parents," and I said, "I don't know what you're talking about," Miss Jackson testified. "I freaked. I thought they were lying. I thought they had made a mistake. Then I thought it can't be a mistake or they wouldn't still be here." As the defense opened its case Thursday, witnesses described Miss Jackson as a normal teenager. Elaine Ostrom of Logansville, pastor of the Faith Outreach Teaching Center in Wilburn and a former neighbor, said Miss Jackson was very energetic, very loving, cooperative, in my opinion, a normal teenage girl, very excited about life. But she couldn't drive. Thank you, Jim Lawn. Weeping teen testifies she's innocent of slaying. A 19-year-old Walton County woman accused of slaying of her mother and stepfather took the witness stand in her own defense. I would not kill or hurt anybody or anything, and especially not my parents, Deborah Sue Jackson told. But except you have a car that there's no way in hell the dad would have let you drive. Periodically wiping away tears during the 3 hours she was on the witness stand, Miss Jackson said she loved her stepfather very much, even though they didn't talk to each other, and that she was very close to her mother. But District Attorney John Ott argued to the jury Friday that on June 4th, Miss Jackson shot her stepfather, Terry Jackson, in the back of the head as he was watching television at their trailer home near Logansville. Later that same night, Ott argued Miss Jackson shot her mother, Betty Jackson, outside the trailer when Mrs. Jackson returned from her post office job in Hapville. There's no doubt about this case, Ott told the jury. The weight and weight and weight of the evidence crushes Deborah Sue Jackson. The jury began deliberating shortly after 5 p.m. Friday. They returned to the courtroom about 9:30 p.m., telling Superior Court Judge Greeley Ellis they could not reach a verdict. However, he asked them to keep trying and sent them back into deliberations. The jurors were sent home for the night at 10:40 and were told to return to the courthouse Saturday morning. Earlier in the day, Miss Jackson testified that she went to the trailer June 4th from her apartment in Lilburn in order to wash some clothes. When she arrived, she said she met her mother, who was preparing to leave for work. Miss Jackson said she asked to use one of the family cars to go to a job interview later that week. Because of her bad driving record, Miss Jackson had been denied use of the family cars, witnesses testified earlier in the trial. Miss Jackson said her mother called from work later that afternoon and gave her permission to use her father's 1965 Ford Mustang. Miss Jackson said she got the keys from her father. Okay, right. There's no way, man. And drove to Stone Mountain, where her boyfriend lives. There's no way in hell. My toenails need to be clipped. They are giants. Yeah. All right, well, good for you, Jim Lawn, you know. Other witnesses have said that Terry Jackson was especially fond of the car. It would not have lent it, 65 Mustang. It would not have lent it to his stepdaughter because of her past driving record. Miss Jackson said she drove to Stone Mountain Park that night and tried to call her boyfriend. Unable to reach him, she drove around the Stone Mountain community and then returned to her apartment. Neighbors in the rural youth community where the Jacksons live told the court they heard several shots followed by the sound of Jackson's car leaving. I mean, see, there you go. I mean, and obviously, then she's in the car, right? Leaving the area at around 11:30 that night. Some neighbors testified they heard 2 cars leaving. Miss Jackson was in possession of the Mustang when she was arrested. Defense attorney Mike Jones argued that no witness could place Miss Jackson at the trailer at the time of the shooting. I've got more questions than I've got answers, Jones told the jury. And I think you do too. But Ott dismissed Miss Jackson's story, describing her as a liar who had admitted telling her parents falsehoods to stay out of trouble. I don't know. Oh, you got a 66? Aren't they kind of similar, like 65, 66, 67, and then they start changing a little bit? Murder trial of teen ends in hung jury. The trial of a 19-year-old Walton County woman accused of killing her mother and stepfather ended in a mistrial Saturday after a Superior Court jury failed to reach a verdict. Superior Court Judge Greeley Ellis declared the mistrial at 5 p.m. Saturday, about 24 hours after the case went to a jury. Jurors had indicated several times during their 10 hours of deliberation that they were deadlocked on deciding the fate of Deborah Sue Jackson, accused of shooting her parents in June. Called into the courtroom about 5 p.m. Saturday, Foreman Robert Edmondson told Ellis that the jury had not made any progress toward a verdict. And what is it? And the other jurors agreed. Miss Jackson reacted emotionally, wiping her eyes and handkerchief. She declined to comment on the mistrial. District Attorney John Ott said he did not know when a retrial would be scheduled. Defense Attorney Mike Jones said he would be ready to try the case if it were rescheduled. He was somewhat disappointed in the mistrial, Jones said. I would have been better pleased with a verdict of not guilty, and I anticipate on retrial we would get that. I mean, what that didn't say. With a verdict of not guilty. Oh yeah, the defense attorney. During questioning from the judge Saturday afternoon, the jury said its vote was 11-1, but did not say which way it was leaning. Oh boy. A unanimous verdict was required. Geez, 11-1. Who was the one sucker, you know? Miss Jackson was accused of shooting her stepfather, Terry Jackson, as he watched television in the living room of the family mobile home near Loganville on June 4th. She was accused of then shooting her mother, Betty June Jackson, as she returned home from work later that night. Ott claimed that Miss Jackson, who at the time lived in Lilburn apartment, was at the mobile home the night of the shooting. When arrested the next day, she was driving her stepfather's car, which witnesses testified she was forbidden to drive. Miss Jackson said her parents lent the car to her, and that she was not. But man, the witnesses all knew that he would never allow her to drive that car. Why would you believe her story? It's just ridiculous. Witnesses said there was a strained relationship between Miss Jackson and her parents. Oh, yeah, and then up here it says, Betty June Jackson, 38, and her husband Terry Jerome Jackson, 32, were found dead at their home from gunshot wounds on June 5th, 1986 in Logansville. Terry Jackson was found... Yeah, I mean, we already know this stuff. So, I mean, the answer is they likely had the right person. They just... I don't know why they didn't retry it. I mean, keep retrying it. It was... I mean, here's the thing. It might have been 11-1 the other way, you know? Like there's somebody saying, God, it's obvious, you guys. And then all the rest were believing in conspiracies. And so the attorneys... I think if it was 11-1 guilty, they would have retried this thing, but they didn't retry it, so it makes you think that it was 11-1 the other way, which is, then they're like, man, forget it. And then that's why the defense attorney was like, yeah, I'd love to have another crack at this. And then I could convince them all. I think that kind of indicates where they were likely. But anyways, that's going to do it, you guys. I'll put that one in the completed folder. My friend had a 1970.5 Chevrolet. He taught me all the things. I remember it from college. I think it was 1980. I don't know, 8 or 7 or something. He said he had a 1970.5 Chevrolet, I think it was a Camaro, and it still had the old look to it. And then it had a 350 4-bolt main with Holley 750 CFM 4-barrel carb with a Hurst 4-speed shifter, 411 rear with posi traction, and what the hell was the other shit that he said? It's so funny, I remember all that crap. Oh yeah, and then it was, yeah, I think that was really the main things. But anyways, thanks everybody. Wish we could have done a little bit better tonight, but hey, at least we got to the minimum. So we had Scott Turbville, congratulations on the grandkid there, and then Sherry C, and Sandy Shirley, and Timothy Cecil, and Scott a few different times in there. Jessica Schubach gifted a couple, and then we had Jim Lawn. Then he gifted 5, Jim Lawn did, then this account, and Lisa Valenzuela gifted 1. Sandy Shirley, then Wonder Woman did 2, then Jim Lawn, and then Jim Lawn did a super chat, and then we also had I don't know if I ever saw your coffee, Lisa. Did you send one in? Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's weird how they separate them. You know, that's like the same. So we had 1 from Lisa Valenzuela and 2 from Marty's Bar and Grill. Very cool. So thank you guys very much. Really appreciate it. Yeah, it was really fast. He liked to race people. We'd pull up next to somebody, he'd race. It would just take off like a rocket. Yeah, 411 rear with posi traction, Hurst 4-speed shifter, 350 4-bolt main. Oh yeah, let's see. Yeah, this was a good one. It was Corvette high-rise aluminum manifold. I don't even know what any of this shit means, but those are what he told us. Yeah, Corvette high-rise aluminum manifolds. What else did he say? I don't know. I can't remember anything else. Anyways, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. See you tomorrow. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Hope you guys find those. I think those are always interesting.
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, play rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Grayl's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it in the straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender.
I hit the wrong
so
button.
I'll
I was
just
trying
get
to
right back
put
to it. All right,
Kathleen's
everybody?
comments, but I timed Lisa out, but I switched it back to 10 seconds. That's hilarious. Sadly, I think it removes every single comment. Oh well. I know there was good comments. I was trying to remove the other one. Okay, well. Jesus. Hey, Kathleen, just grow up, okay? When you come in here, just act normal, just watch the show. If you don't like it, don't watch, okay? But your constant little weird comments. Oh, well, okay, well, Yeah. Anyways, see if you can type in again, Lisa. I put you on timeout for 10 seconds. I switched it. If you can't, then it should be tomorrow. But put user on timeout for 10 seconds. Maybe it's like, maybe you can't. Maybe the 5 overrid it. I didn't mean to do that, though. It scrolled by and I clicked on the wrong thing. I guess that can happen sometimes. You know? Oh, there you are. There you are. Okay, so it worked. I switched it to 10 seconds. All right, anyways, thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks for the coffees, too. Lisa and Marty's Bar and Grill. Guess we'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, so be safe out there. Thank you for watching Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube, where we follow true crime using logic, reason, common sense to figure out those very same crimes. Thank you very much for watching, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. You know what's funny, Sandy? You're the last person in the world that should even chuckle. Like, every freaking show, you claim your cat jumps in and removes comments all over the place. All right? So, whenever you get that figured out, then I'll be happy to see you chuckle. All right, anyways, thanks, everybody. See you guys later, and be safe out there.